Let's tie the Panfish triangle bug. We're going to start with the Firehole 618 hook and some Veevus 8/0 or 6/0 tan thread. And we're just going to lay down a quick thread base here. Just take our thread back to the bend and just take it forward again. Now we're going to tie in the tail, and for this you can use a lot of different types of materials. I like to either use calf tail or bucktail. Both work just fine. And you can tie this in a lot of different colors: green, yellow, black. We're going to tie it here today in tan. And I'm just going to take some calf tail straight from the calf tail. I didn't stack it. I left the fibers kind of tapered. We're going to tie it in so that the tail hangs off the back of the shank of the hook, one length of the shank of the hook. I like to tie it in at the front of the hook and then wrap back down onto kind of the tail. That gives me a nice, smooth, even body. Then you can trim out those butt ends. All this is going to be covered up by foam, so it doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to be smooth. Now we're going to tie in the legs. You can use round rubber legs for this, you can use Sili legs. I'm going to use some barred and speckled Buggy Nymph legs in a tan color, but you can just use whatever leg that you like the looks of, doesn't really matter. I'm going to take two of them, I'm just going to tie them in right behind the eye of the hook. I'm just going to kind of figure X around the middle of those legs, making sure they're locked into position. Now you're going to take your thread all the way back to the tail, kind of dodging all those legs as you get back there. And you can just stop and let your thread sit there. Now I'm just going to take all those legs, fold them down underneath the hook, and we're going to cut them all together all at once so that they're all one length. We're going to trim them so that they're about twice the length of the shank of the hook, no longer. About 1.5 to 2 times the length of the shank of the hook. Now we're ready to make our body. What I've done is I've taken a 2mm piece of thin foam and I've cut a diamond in it. And basically when you fold it in half you get this triangle. You want to cut this just longer than the shank of the hook, so that way when you pierce the middle of the foam there for our little spot for the eye, it reaches all the way back over the shank of the hook. It's better to have it too long than too short at this point. Then you're just going to take the eye of the hook and force it through the middle portion of that foam. And we're going to secure the underside of the foam first. So I just take it and get it under the bend of the hook, and I'm going to take a loose wrap of thread. I'm just going to make sure it's centered in the body, and then pull tight with my loose wrap of thread. And I'll just do a few more turns loose at first, and then slowly pull down. Now you want to trim that tag end as close as you can get. You don't have to make it perfect. Bluegill aren't super picky and they're not going to inspect the back end of your fly all that much. Now you're ready to fold the top over. So I just kind of fold it over, just get an idea of what it's going to look like. Make sure everything's in place, and we take a little bit of super glue and just put it on the body. Also right where the legs are attached as well. Be careful not to overdo it, doesn't take much. Now we're going to fold the body back, and before I pinch down on the body, I'm going to gently hold it in place, and I'm going to make sure my legs are in position where I want them. So I kind of pull my legs to the position where I want them, and then you can pinch down on that foam and just hold it there till it starts to stick and do its job. Now if you have the foam safe super glue, it's really the best stuff when working with foam. Now we're just going to take our thread and do a loose wrap over the top half of that foam and gently bite down. Do that a few more times until you have it secure. And you can whip finish. Now with that little piece of tag end on the back, you can cut it all the way flush if you don't like the looks of it, cover it up with thread, or you can leave it like I did. You might trim it down just a little bit shorter, but you can just leave it. I mean, it doesn't really hurt anything. It just saves you a lot of extra thread wraps and a lot of extra work. And you want to add some head cement or UV fly finish or super glue back there too, just to keep it from falling apart. And really, that's a finished triangle bug. Great little fly for panfish and bluegill.